Greetings, horror movie talk fans. During the recording of this episode, the boys experienced some technical difficulties. We want to thank everyone for your patience and support. Lots of love, the HMT crew.
Put the gun down.
I saw you with the box. What was in the box?
Because I envy your normal life.
Put the gun down, David.
It seems that envy is my sin.
Oh, what's in the box?
Not till you give me the
What's
gun.
in the fucking box?
Give me the gun.
Is this a metal thing?
Yes. Little taste.
David, what is this?
Pretty thick.
Great.
I have to kill a lot of people. Just tell me what you want me to fuck.
I have big tits and a tiny vagina.
Oil me up, Daddy.
I can't believe that Bryce prefers big tits. Mistletoe alert.
This is butt country.
This guy was a real jerk.
How long can Hugo being pregnant?
Chomp, 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 a chomp.
Oh, you're such a dick, David.
Okay, everybody, put on your corpse handling gloves.
Ew.
Hoodie Picasso. Horror.
Hello, party people, and welcome to Horror Movie Talk, your panel of expert hosts. This week and every week for all of eternity are Dr. Bruce Henson.
Hello, everybody.
PhD in spookology on that guy, and me, Professor David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. We've got a fabulous show for you guys today. I'm so excited because we will be reviewing Hellraiser 2022. That's right. But before we get into this marvelous new addition to the Hellraiser series, I'm going to tell you a little bit about us. We are Horror Movie Talk. Our website is horrormovietalk.com. It's pretty simple because it's just our name and then .com. If you'd like to get a hold of the show, you can call us at 682-253-4468. We put out new episodes every Wednesday, so make sure to subscribe to us and leave us a nice review, or just support us any way you can. We do have a Patreon. That's the best way to support us. And we do have some new patrons to thank this week, I think. But before we get into that, I should probably tell you about my other show called Hotline, which is just, it's just an advice hotline show. So you call into it, you ask for advice, and you get to hear a bunch of really salacious, dirty laundry from other people over there. So, check that out as you please. New patrons this week to thank are Sherry V, Amy M, and Nine Kinds. Thank you guys so much for joining our patrons, supporting us monetarily. Of course, they're all getting a bunch of goodies, both digitally and hand job wise over there at Patreon.
Did you get Laura F and Matt B? I think they're also patrons.
No. Oh, I didn't. They're not showing up on this list. My list is all wrong.
Well,
Apparently, I failed in a few ways. The other day, when we were, I think, reviewing Barbarian, I was looking at this list as I was naming names of victims for who was a rape victim of the Barbarian and Barbarian. Spoilers. And I named one of our patrons, Denise H., and she was like, I have chills. Why am I one of the victims in this movie? And I was like, I was just reading your name as we were listing off names, and I guess I did that. I'm so sorry. Sorry, no, I don't mean you any immediate harm. We will start out this show by giving a brief review and score for the movie. Score on a scale of 1 to 10. Pretty simple stuff. 10 is like the best it could possibly be. 5 is totally average. Later in this show, we will be doing a little bit called Horror Movie Horrors, where we get to your voicemails. And I wouldn't mind if Bryce has time. Do you have time today to do that bonus episode we've been talking about for so long?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. We could do it. We could do it today.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a while till we get through them if we're doing them all in this episode.
Backed up with thick, ropey loads of voicemail calls. So we'll get into that. But first, let me tell you, we watched Hellraiser 2022 and we're reminded of a series which has virtually infinite potential and has fallen from grace and risen like Lazarus to raise heck again. So without further ado, here is the trailer.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It's really nice.
You can hold it.
What is it?
It's a puzzle.
And it's almost finished.
Keep going.
So if I solve it, do I get a prize?
I do.
It has 6 sides, 6 configurations. It opens up, and it cuts you. And then they come to collect.
It's time. Greater delights await. We wish to see you proceed. Feed it. Their blood, their pain. All for us. What is it you pray for?
Hellraiser can be found on Hulu. I think it's a Hulu thing that Hulu did. That Hulu was all like, let's do a Hulu thing and make a new Hellraiser. And so they did, and they put it in their formidable Huluween selection.
I think one of the first credits in the opening credits was Hulu presents a Hulu original. I'm like, okay, first of all, pick one. Just say Hulu presents or say a Hulu original, of which I have issues because it's not an original. They're
Hulu or
rebooting
Hulu to be criticizing Hulu. All right.
Isn't that weird when they can say like, hey, this is a Netflix original, and it's like just recycling IP from somewhere else. Like,
dude, I've been thinking, speaking of Netflix originals, I've been thinking about that one fucking what's it called, that reality show called The Ultimatum. Remember that? Way more disturbing than Dahmer. Remember that? And I made you watch a show and you're like, holy fuck.
No, I didn't. I never watched it. You just explained it to me and it was
you didn't even watch it?
No.
Oh man, you're missing out. That show is fucking insane.
No.
Anywho,
I have been watching Dahmer though, and that's pretty intense.
Yeah, who knew? My synopsis for Hellraiser is Riley, played by Odessa Azion, is a young woman struggling with addiction and staying sober, which is the classic struggle of addiction. Her boyfriend, Trevor, played by Drew Starkey, is also a recovering addict who seems to be a little less concerned about sobriety and walking the straight and narrow. Riley's brother, Colin, and his gay boyfriend, Matt, are worried about Riley. When Riley and her straight boyfriend, Trevor, break into a storage locker and steal the puzzle box, wacky hijinks ensue, and everyone gets more heck than they bargained for. My review for this is Hellraiser 2022 is a promising new movie based in the Hellraiser universe. It's a 54% reboot, 27% homage, 33% slow and boring, with a nice 12% helping of gloop. Probably the biggest thing that Raisin Phaser has going for it is David Bruckner at the helm. Fresh off of one of our favorite movies of 2020, Bruckner did The Night House. He also did another really solid horror movie straight to Netflix, The Ritual from 2017. So, dude is a solid director, especially in the horror genre, basically only in the horror genre. Hellraiser does a lot of things right. It keeps the plot pretty easy to follow and stays true to a lot of the lore of the series. It also has a lot of nods to sequels in the long line of Yell-Sayer movies. The reimagined Cenobites are off-putting and sometimes horrifying, which is fabulous. Jamie Clayton as the priest, aka Lady Pinhead, is something to behold, and strangely kind of a sexless character I found. Was that your experience as well, Bryce? I expected her to be very fucking sexual.
Well, she's got a smoker's voice, so that just becomes sexless to me.
I think that makes it sexier.
If you've got a 2 carton a day habit,
you sound all used up. That's hot.
What sights I have to show you. It's like, yeah, I'm not turned on by that necessarily.
I mean, she knows what to do. It means she got an oral fixation, Bryce.
True.
You just don't know the signs to look for. You're not one of these thinking men we hear so much about. Lots of this movie was upsetting and hard to watch, but there was some stuff that didn't work too well for me. I'm a bit tired of the same story played out over and over again, which this kind of is. With this intellectual property, you could go to actual hell and have a number of incredible and weird stories play out. Just take Hellbound Hellraiser 2, which we just reviewed a couple weeks ago, as an example. Instead, we have to see a bunch of new people going through a lot of similar actions that we've seen before, not just in Hellraisers, but in slashers of various varieties. Here's a bunch of people, let's cut them up. And it could be so much crazier than that, but they kind of chose to go with that very standard slasher formula. The pacing on Mallcrazer is incredibly slow. It's clear that slow burn was their intent, but sometimes it drags a little too much. Overall, this is kind of a breath of fresh air to an otherwise very dead series, and I'm glad to see it. I've always thought that Heckpaver had a ton of potential, and this is a pretty high-quality example of where it can go. I give this a 7 out of 10. It's not going to blow your socks off, but it's serviceable. It's a serviceable slasher, I think, and one of the better new slashers that I've seen in a long time. What do you think, Bryce?
Yeah, I'd agree with your score. It's about a 7 out of 10. It's quality, like it's a really good reboot for the franchise. It didn't go quite as far in some territories as I wish they would, because it was using a lot of the same themes and like plot points as the original, but some of the stuff that made the original really interesting in terms of tone and storytelling, they didn't go quite far enough in this one. They did the the due diligence for setting up characters that have dilemmas and relationships, but they don't really flesh them out too much. It's just using like she's an addict and she's recovering is shorthand for a lot of stuff, and I wish they would have shown a little more of like the relationship between her brother and kind of like what a little bit more of her struggles and how it would like connect with the story around guilt and helplessness and whatnot. And then I felt like it was kind of the main thing that I thought it was missing from the original and the Hellraiser 2 was they didn't I don't think they focused enough on the main. I mean, he's kind of supposed to be the main villain because he's the impetus for all the actions. But like they really focused more on the main villain in the originals, where it's like just kind of focusing on a really fucked up evil character,
Yeah.
as the impetus for um all the action around the cube. And they kind of you know let the cube be its own thing and just make it seem like it all happened through happenstance, really. So I think that could have made him a little more interesting, and that's what was really strong in the originals. But overall, I think like they set the right tone. It was interesting. Like, it's the stuff that you're wanting to see in a Hellraiser movie, like you know the Cenobites and
Yeah.
fucked up torture stuff is there. Um, and it filled. I haven't seen any of the other Hellraisers other than 1 and 2, but it seemed like it filled out the lore of like what was the offerings of the the Cenobites or the cube, or like why would anyone want to do this, and it kind of fleshes that out a little more. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a little long, but I didn't think it dragged too much. I think they could have put more in for how long they made it, but it was good. I had a couple issues with the design of the Cenobites, but they were fine.
Let's I guess we can get into it when we get into spoilers, huh?
Yeah.
I think everything, I mirror a lot of what you say, with the exception of I really felt like this was just dragging for a straight ahead slasher. It just felt like it was like, okay, we get it. It's you're slow burn slasher. Okay. But that did bother me a little bit. But other than that, it's not a tremendous amount of sins committed by this movie, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's just, I think, I think with something like this, you run a very real, you just run up against a real problem, which is you take a beloved series like Hellraiser, and you announce that you're going to be reskinning it, and you're going to be like, it's going to be great, and it's going to be available for streaming on Hulu for Hulu's Huluween, presented by Hulu. And you're just like, this is going to be great. And everybody gets all fucking super excited. And inevitably, there's going to be people who will love it no matter what. And there's going to be people who were just expecting more. And I think you and I, especially from something like slashers, which is not our immediate taste, are just going to be left wanting a little bit, unless it's truly the best in class for something like a slasher.
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't even necessarily classify it as a slasher in my mind, at least not the first 2 Hellraisers. Like, it is kind of its own thing.
The first 2 weren't quite. Yeah, this is much more of a straight ahead kind of slasher than the first 2 were.
Yeah, I mean, mostly just because it wasn't as focused on the tone as the first 2. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just kind of indicative of like it was trying to be more mainstream and less like, I mean, it's
less Clive Barkery.
Yeah, less Clive Barkery. And in so doing, it's entering into the realm of slashers, and slashers just by default have to be a little more exciting than something with a lot of character,
Yes, I think we've done a good job of dialing in on exactly it. I think take what Bryce just said to the bank. You know what else you can take to the bank is nightchannels.com. You've heard it before, because if you've been listening to this show, because they're the best when it comes to clothing, horror themed and music themed, metal themed, cult themed, satanic themed clothing. And you head on over to nightchannels.com. You put a bunch of those fabulous and super unique prints in your cart. And when you go to check out with, 7, 8, 9, 25 things in your cart, you can use that code HMT at checkout, and that gets you the spookiest percentage you can possibly afford off of your order. 13% off that whole order. And you don't even need to you don't even need to go do that. It would be nice if you did that, because they support the show and you'd be supporting them, and that would be supporting the show. But you don't even have to. You don't take my word for it. Just head over to their site, take a look at what they got to offer, and I guarantee you'll be back. Even if you close out that website, that's called the Night Channels Challenge, and it works for a reason, because when you have the best product, people just gravitate to it. And so that's what's up. And, use that code HMT at checkout, get you that guaranteed 13% off your order. If you're listening to these commercials, you should know you don't have to. You can sign up on our Patreon at the $6.66 tier. That gets you ad-free early episode access to episodes, early access to all those episodes, and a smorgasbord of other stuff. You get access to the Afterpod, which is a whole nother podcast that we record after this podcast. There's various offerings, lots of good stuff over there. There's even ad offerings if you have a small business and want to advertise through Horror Movie Talk. You can set that up. Just get talking to us over there. And Patreon makes it all easy peasy, and you get a bunch of cool digital extras. You can support us by heading to horrormovietalk.com/shop, buying something over there. We have some shirts that I should probably start getting set up on our shirt thingamajig. The Team Bat versus Team Spear shirts that Dustin has been creating dutifully. And so maybe those will be available this week. I hope by saying this, it will light a fire under me and Bryce, or just me.
I completely forgot about that.
Or just Bryce. Who knows? Hopefully it will happen, but you know how your boys be. They be lazy. By the way, speaking of Dustin Goebel, check out his artwork. He's the guy who makes all the artwork for us. He made the thumbnail for this video, which is on YouTube, which you should check out on our YouTube channel. He fucks real hard. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. So check him out over at Instagram. That's at dgoebel00. That's at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram. If you'd like to call us, get on the HMT Horrors segment, you can do so by calling 682-253-4468. Thank you very, very much. And let's get into spoilers. So, okay. The moment has passed, Bryce. So the
I can't switch it back. Okay, I'm back.
Bryce, stop it! Seriously, you're messing with the video. We are on YouTube, so you guys should check us out. You can view my my beautiful haircut, which isn't cut at all, and you can view Bryce's actual beautiful haircut, which is suave. And whoa, it's like a stallion with that mane. Got me all wet. So we start off for some reason in Serbia. It's like, let's just get as close to hell as we can right out the gate. I for some reason I think it's because the Serbia Kosovo thing was happening when we were kids. I just think of Serbia as just hell on earth. So I don't. Maybe it's different. If we have any Serbian listeners, and that's super wrong, and it's like just the most awesome place ever. Please let us know by giving us an angry call on our voicemail line. And from there we head to some rich guy's house in Massachusetts, and it's like some weird fucking Eyes Wide Shut party that you've seen a million times in movies by now. It's a pretty effective trope. And I don't know. See, the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm kind of irritated by this movie. Because it's just a bunch of tropes kind of thrown together. I guess they work.
Yeah, I mean this guy is like one of my main beefs. It's like it's just shorthand. Rich guy bad.
Yeah.
Like rich guy's doing a thing. And
he collects art.
It doesn't go into at all like how fucked up he is. Which is like, yeah, I mean maybe that's what it is, because in the original, like the main villains were so fucked up, and especially in Hellraiser 2 was just an extreme sadist, and made it really interesting. And this one just seems like it's your standard rich guy, which you don't quite it doesn't even seem like he quite understands what it is. I guess it shows a bunch of research and stuff in like a side office or whatever when what's her name is investigating, but like it doesn't give you the background of this guy. And I feel like that was pretty integral to Hellraiser, is that there has to be someone on Earth that's just evil and looking for like the most extreme, sadist experience.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are like the force for opening up these doorways to hell. And that didn't really exist here. I mean, I guess in the plot says it does, but it doesn't really fill out that character. Most of it's like just kind of a naive protagonist that stumbles into it.
Right.
And then continues to. That's the other thing, is like once you understand what the puzzle box is, like all of a sudden now you have to kind of like come up with an excuse to be like, oopsie doopsie, I solved it again.
Okay, this is great. I'm glad that you're transitioning this way, because this puzzle box introduces I don't know, like, so Bryce and I have really only seen 1 and 2, and long ago I saw 3, I think, but I really can't remember much of it. So we're not 11 we're not 11 sequels into Hellraiser, so forgive us our inexperience. We are horror fans, but we're not necessarily aficionados. So with that being said, I think it introduces a new element to the puzzle box, which is like, it's not just a puzzle box anymore. It's a gotcha trap. It's like a Chinese finger trap kind of scenario, which is not only do you have to do the puzzle, which is all it used to be. It used to just be like, oh, just do the puzzle. And then once you do it, you're marked. Now it's like, you can do the puzzle, but if this little knife that comes out of it when you do the puzzle doesn't nick you, doesn't hit your, make you bleed onto the box, you're scot free.
They're like, you got us.
you had it turned one of the 25 different ways that it wouldn't cut you,
right?
When you finished it. And so there's this element of like, you escaped us this time.
Yeah.
You solved the puzzle, but you didn't do a blood ouchie into the box. So the box is dry.
The answer is always solve the puzzle with boxing gloves on.
Or, you got to lube up that box before you can get in there. You know what I'm saying? Bryce.
Yeah, that was
you got to lube up the box.
I get the pun. That was an interesting element that was added I'm okay with it, but it's a
Yeah.
little more compelling to just have you be marked by solving it, because there's a little more like avenue of just you're fucked, you know.
Yeah.
But it's still also it's I guess it's more clear in this one, because in the original Hellraiser it's like the original protagonist solves it and she gets taken to hell, but then she solves it and gets back out. It's like the rules are a little fuzzy. It's
Yeah.
like,
well,
you just keep using the box and then stuff happens, you know.
that's what they always say. They say just keep using that box.
Mhm.
There's a thing, like it used to be kind of hard to solve the box. It was a puzzle. But now it seems like any fucking dum-dum can just touch this box a little, just the right way, just be like, I care about this thing a little bit. And then it'll spring open. And so it got to such an extent in number 2 that they needed a girl who was basically just a puzzle solving, like a savant,
like a puzzle savant, like had to work on it for forever to like get it solved. And now it's just like you just turn things until it clicks. It's just
Right.
like you just wiggle it around,
right. Yeah. And then they in this movie they
like
well,
you know what it is. I just realized the difference. The original puzzle box was a stand-in for Rubik's Cube. And this puzzle box is a stand-in for those little boxes where you open the top and then a wooden snake comes out and bites your hand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little
gotcha.
Let's talk about a little bit about how this box differs from the original box, right? So this one has like 5 or 6 different configurations, right? It's got like the Leviathan configuration, and that stands for if you get through all these levels, there's like a couple levels of the box, you got to feed it a X amount of people in order to pick your poison, basically. And so there's like 6 different configurations, 5 different configurations. There's the Lament configuration, which just is a cube, and that one is just a choice of lament, right? You like your reward is you get to live your life, but you have killed all these people and you get nothing for it except to live your pathetic life. And then there's like the Leviathan configuration, which is you get ultimate power. But all of these, and then there's a couple different configurations within, and they all come like with a blessing that is obviously a curse. It's like not a great time if you choose any one of these, no matter what. So you touch the box, you're guaranteed not to have a good time. It's just like what kind of bad time you want, kind of. How did this element of the whole thing? I think this was actually one of the more interesting parts of this movie.
Of just the different configurations of the box.
Yeah, it was kind of like because now you kind of want to know. So our bad guy, we should mention, is Voight. He's this art collector. He's created this huge house that is basically like a puzzle box of its own, like an anti-puzzle box to like keep Cenobites out. It keeps it at bay somehow because it's the way it's made. Questions not answered. But he's for some reason obsessed with the puzzle box, and he chooses the configuration when at the start of the movie he chooses the configuration of feeling. How do they describe it? He chooses let's see here. I can't remember the name of the thing that he chooses, but it's like feeling. It's like too much feeling. Help me out here. I can't remember, but suffice it to say, he thinks he's going to get. Oh, you're really quiet. If you're talking, I can't hear a thing.
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. He chooses the configuration that is like sensation. So he thinks, so it sounds, it's like being sold as like, oh, you're going to come like 24 hours a day, 9 days a week, and it's going to be fucking great. And what he ends up getting is this weird fucking like contraption placed in the middle of his chest that just agonizingly tugs at his body at random times. And so he gets to feel, but it's not coming 24 hours a day.
Yeah, they tricked him.
Doesn't get that come feel.
That's kind of a theme with these Hellraisers. They're always tricking you. Yeah, I had a thought, like, you know, these people that like get off from pain, like these masochists. Are there like
dozens of us?
Are there masochists that also have like chronic pain? Like, wouldn't that be the perfect Venn diagram of just like, I get off by having pain inflicted to me, and it just so turns out I have incredible chronic pain just from, you know, gout or something. Just like I have fibromyalgia, and it's great. It couldn't happen to a better person.
Yeah, I want to meet the person who gets off on feeling fine. You know, who's like, oh, I feel so regular. Oh.
Or like, what if you're in your 20s and you're like, I really, really get off by lower back pain. I'm just waiting for my 40s. Just that's when I'm really going to start coming into my own.
I wonder if those are the people who die tragically, you know?
Yeah.
They're just chasing that dragon. They're like, yeah, he flipped his vet. And it's like, well, that was intentional, you know?
Or if there's sadists that get off on other people's pain, but they just surround themselves with old people that are always in constant pain. Like,
yeah.
Or like in a nursing home with like people moaning, like, and they're
that
just
definitely is
tweaking their nipples, like,
ooh, oh, that's definitely a thing for sure. Oh man. Oh wow, we have so many calls to get through. Holy shit.
I know.
Oh my fucking god.
I know.
Bryce.
So I think what we should do for that segment is we should cover the most recent ones in this episode and then do the special episode and release it before Wednesday.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good idea. Okay. So let's get into the story of this whole thing. So we have our gal, Riley. She's an addict. Say hello, Riley.
Hey.
And she is with her addict boyfriend. And they together are doing, sorry addicts, but, kind of addicty things, they're like conspiring to steal stuff, together to like get that last high, and so they go and they steal.
Well, that wasn't particularly the plot. It wasn't they were stealing to get high. They were stealing to get money. She was
to get high.
She was in recovery, right? Or had she already taken the pills? No, because she relapsed after she stole and got kicked out by her brother. So she was still being good.
Yeah, sure. It's just kind of, she wasn't being good because she was doing a super addicty thing, going to steal shit with her addict boyfriend.
Sure.
What do you mean, sure?
Keep going. That's fine. I won't nitpick. Go ahead.
People on the straight and narrow don't go and fucking steal. They just don't.
Well, there's plenty of people that steal that aren't addicts.
Well,
some people steal to get money.
Yes, but undeniably stealing things is addict behavior. It's one of the very, very, very common things associated with being an addict.
Okay. Yeah. I agree.
they go off, and the first thing that they steal, he's like, he works at some shipping yard, and he's like, look, there's this one shipping container that's got this box inside a box inside a box, and in that box there's another box, and that's the box we need to steal. And she's like, I mean, to be fair, he doesn't know that the lament configuration is in there, but nevertheless, that's the way it pans out. And so they go in there, they steal the puzzle box. They're both like, I don't know what to do with this. Maybe we could hawk it. Not really. That's not really something an addict would do. They wouldn't hawk something they stole. It seems. I mean, I'm just saying, it seems kind of far-fetched, David. So they steal this thing from someone else that wasn't theirs, and she takes it, and I can't remember how he, like, what the step is. Her brother gets got, she goes and gets high after that, not like an addict would, and then her brother kicks her out of his house, and he's like, I'm done with you. And then her brother gets nicked by the puzzle box, and he gets taken off to the underworld, and the rest of the movie is Riley and her friends and her brother's friends attempting to save her brother from hell, or from the Cenobites. And so that's kind of what kicks this into gear. And these are those are our characters, our band of people. There's Matt, who is her brother's boyfriend, his gay boyfriend. There's Nora.
It's convenient that his boyfriend was gay. Like, that would be
that's
unfortunate.
That's what
his boyfriend wasn't gay. Thanks for clarifying, David.
That was my favorite part of writing this thing. And I was like, Carrie, can I say gay boyfriend? And she laughed, and she's like, people will get mad at that. And I was like, I'm just doing it for clarity. But I think not only is it clearer, but it's funnier.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be gay to fuck guys.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He could be bi.
Yeah,
he could be
there's plenty
straight,
of straight
but
guys.
just
There's plenty of straight guys that date gay men.
Right.
There's plenty of straight men that date straight men. I mean, you have to clarify.
That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, don't be a bi erasure. That's a thing. People are bi, Bryce. A lot of people.
Right.
There are dozens of us. And then Trevor, Nora is her roommate, Riley's roommate, and Trevor is her bad boyfriend. / kind of like not a great role model, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are our folks who are going to save Colin, her gay brother. And so they
just call him a gay bro.
A gay bro.
Yeah.
And not a lot is made of the gay thing, which is both refreshing and leaves a lot on the table. They did have a little bit of a makeout sesh, which I appreciated, and I could have done with a lot more of. Actually, this movie, I kind of, that may be one of the things that's holding this movie back a little bit, is the first couple were really salacious, like they were highly sexual and a little bit perverted and risque and taboo and stuff. And this had all the makings of that. Like you could have done that. There were hot kids in this, hot young adults, I should say.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely
again,
over 18.
Yeah, this is one of those things that didn't go far enough for me. Because like it's a huge part for the tone of the original, which is, I mean, literally S&M, but just sex and like kind of what's the word I'm looking for? The
hot anal play?
Not profane, but
lewd.
Yeah, whatever. It's like
lascivious.
Sex is like a huge part of it. Like between Frank and Julia, like the lust and like the drive to, to fuck by at any cost, and especially at the cost of other people's misery. Um, and so like they they have some sex in the movie, and it's like, okay, there's a sex scene, but it's not like integral to the plot. It doesn't drive anything forward, doesn't
It's not
actually
super
matter
hot.
and it's, the most that they get out of it is like a little bit of character development of the boyfriend says I love you, and it's awkward, and she doesn't, want that.
Yeah.
And so it actually undercuts the the dilemma in the movie, because she's trying to, make sure that boyfriend doesn't die, and then eventually I guess she remembers, like, oh yeah, I don't care about this guy, and then she lets him die. So it's also revealed that he's the reason for all of this misery. But yeah, it's like pain. It's like the original Hellraiser was half and half, about pain and about sex, and it was really, really leaning into pain and sex and the combination of the two as motivations for
Yeah.
the villains and yeah, and the victim sometimes. At least like not as like a internal motivation for the protagonist, but at least like it was a big part of, like sexual assault was a pretty underlying theme of the original Hellraisers too. And so it's the end product is that you feel very gross,
Yeah.
and you feel kind of gross in this, but not as gross as you could if you really leaned into, the sexual
Okay.
fetishization and like
Okay.
S&M aspects.
I like where you're going with this. So let's make this better. Okay, so one of the Cenobites, or maybe two. It's got to be two. It's got to be two of the Cenobites. They all have themes, right? You got the Chatterer. He's like, and that's his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a couple in here. You got the Weeper. You got the Asphyx. You got the Menaker. The Mask was really cool. These are all the all the different Cenobites. But what if instead of some of those, you had like the Giver and the Taker, and the Giver was just like made of dicks, just like
right,
big fisting,
one of the Cenobites is just designated the power bottom.
Yeah, just like orifices everywhere, like a butthole for a mouth that's just like, and and like vaginas for eyes, little slits for eyes. And like, the ears are other orifices, gaping wounds for ears, and these two are just, you never see one without the other. They're just like
sticking his dick fingers into her eyes,
Yeah, and from far away you can hear them, groaning and splorching, like oh, just like,
So the design, while we're on it, like the design of the Cenobites, what did you think compared to the original? Do you think the new design lives up, transcends the original designs?
Of what, Pinhead specifically, or just the Cenobites in general?
Pinhead and the other Cenobites, like there's definitely a different aesthetic.
Yeah, it was they kind of went for a much more feminine touch on all of them, which worked in a way. It didn't. It was just a different take on kind of the same thing. I thought there were a few of the Cenobites who were kind of front and center who didn't work so well for me at all. I think the Weeper was the one that kind of got the most airtime, other than Pinhead or the priest, the Lady Pinhead. And I'll tell you, the one I really liked was the mask with kind of this frisbee of skin taut over this thing. I would have liked to see a lot more of that one, but I liked how they kind of showcased the Cenobites a lot more in this one than in one, the original, and then I mean even kind of two. They really made a lot of it, but I don't know. The design wasn't here or there for me. It was pretty cool, you know. What did you think?
Yeah, I don't think it looked great. Like, I get what they were going for, but it looked a lot faker. So like the main difference is the original series, like kind of the latex or PVC kind of S&M fetish gear was like one of the main features. They're all in black, like latex. And then you have the whatever torture du jour for each Cenobite, you know, so whatever skin flaps or stretchy things or pins or whatever is kind of what defines them. And in this one, they kind of did away with clothing at all, and it was all supposed to be just flesh mangled and pulled, and you know, and then it just didn't look like what it was trying to be. Like especially Pinhead, the flesh and stuff that's like pulled over, it just looks like a costume to me. Like it's not visceral enough or doesn't look realistic enough to portray what it's trying to portray. And so I think they were a little too ambitious with what they're trying to show. I did like the concept of it, and I think, like, especially with one of the Cenobite, I can't remember which one, but like it just looked like it was they're toying a lot more with nudity and you know, displaying discomfort from that. Wish they would have gone further and just had someone's dick out. That would have been nice. Just have like, what if that was like
the giver,
the Cenobite, yeah, the giver, where he's just like has a giant, you know, rock hard erection at all times,
and he's like, I'm gonna grape you in the mouth.
That's a form of torture in itself, you know.
Oh yeah, just a rock hard dick all the time.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's true torture, and it can't get off. It's just, I mean, like,
that's a side effect of some dick pills that you don't want, because your dick can fall off. It doesn't ever go down.
Your dick can fall off?
Yeah, if you have like an erection that doesn't, haven't you heard like the warnings on any of those dick pills? It's like, if you have an erection that lasts for more than 2 hours, go see a doctor.
Your dick will fall off? Is that the next part?
Yeah, that's what happens.
Can't tell if you're...
Look it up. Look it up. Look it up, David.
Will your dick actually fall off?
Yeah, it'll just pop. I don't know.
This is why I like being friends with you, is because you do my favorite thing, which is just gaslight me until death. I feel like this is gaslighting, but you're playing it pretty close.
No, I mean, whatever it is, you can do some real damage to your dick if you have a hard on for too long. Just a fact. Look it up, David.
Young David has a lot of issues with this. Like even kind of old David has a lot of issues with this. My dick is
having
hard,
an erection for 2 hours straight. Like, I don't think so.
Oh yeah. Are you? 2 hours is fucking amateur hour over here. Amateur 2 hours. Like, I've had a hard dick. I'd say in my life, my dick has been hard 10% of my life. My life. That's, and like 50% of the time I'm asleep.
See, the reason why I don't believe it is, like, after 20 minutes of consciously knowing that your dick is rock hard, like, if you haven't found an excuse to excuse yourself and go jack off, like, then I have more questions.
Well, it's not the jacking off is great. Yeah, you'd go and jack off. It's just, how do you get it to go down after that?
You have 0 refractory period?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, then you should be in porn then, because that's
Today I
abnormal
learned.
thing, David. Usually when people come, their dick stops being hard.
I'm telling you, man, we gotta make this new podcast. What makes you come? We gotta. We owe it to people. So, anywho, yeah, basically what ends up playing out is a very stereotypical slasher at this point. The kids all head into Voight's house. Voight is not dead, as he has been presumed to be for a long time. He is actually still kept alive in perpetuity because of this machine and the gift of the Cenobites. And within this house, there's a bunch of really cool features that never get used, like a sex dungeon. Never gets like its proper comeuppance. But there is a lot of eerie standing outside the house that takes place. The Cenobites are kept at bay for a time, and then intentionally let in. The kids think, hey, maybe we were able to sacrifice the Chatterer as in place of one of us. He ended up, the Chatterer, they nicked him with the puzzle box, and he ended up being sacrificed in a massive explosion that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, maybe we can just keep trapping these Cenobites and
yeah, the rules with this fucking box just doesn't, because like, okay, first of all, you can open it but not be the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, like the one of the major like problems with me is that they entrap what's her name? What's the main character's name again?
Riley?
Riley. So there's a point where the Cenobite just solves the box and then stabs Riley and it's like, haha, we got your blood now. It's like, well, wait a goddamn minute. Like, so you can just do that whenever you want? Like, why would you wait for people to solve this box if you could just go like jump up behind someone and be like, haha, solve the box, stab.
Gotcha, bitch.
Like, so that's a problem. Well, like, I get it that in the plot they're trying to make it so Riley is entrapped by the box, but why would you do it that way? Why wouldn't you do it in a way where she just inadvertently stabs herself?
See, I don't have really a problem with that because, just like God works in mysterious ways, the devil is allowed to cheat constantly. That's kind of his thing. Is like, hey, you thought the rules were one way, but I was just lying about that. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. The devil's the devil. So I don't know. It's a thing. But anywho, these kids are all.
And then also the other thing is like, okay, so there's some problems with this box, David. Okay, so the story of the billionaire guy is that he got all these other people to solve the box for him so that he could wait until it got to the final stage where you have like, the diamond shape where you can talk with, the god of Hellraiser. Are you there? So the billionaire is trying to get a bunch of like victims to stab themselves so that he can get to this final form of this puzzle box towards the diamond, and you get to be in the presence of the Hellraiser god so that you can make your demands. Okay, so the beginning of the movie is showing us that, and he chose poorly. And this movie, and then for the rest of the movie, is Riley inadvertently getting people to get stabbed by this box or purposefully get stabbed by the box. And then it finally turns into a diamond. At which point, the billionaire gets his wish granted, which is like, I want this thing to be taken away from me and give me the other thing, which they grant. But also Riley's wish also gets granted.
So the way they said it in the movie was, in light, we will, like, to the billionaire, to Voight, they were like, in light of your displeasure with our gift, we will make a consideration for you. That's what she said. She was like, we're okay with, and not only that, they didn't really give him a choice about it. It wasn't like he got to choose the power config, the Leviathan config. They just were like, you know what? You really have been like you say it's all about, feeling calm feels, but really you're in search of power. So we'll just give you power. So I think it was just like trading out a one car for another kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that's how they explained it. Is like, oh, you can't leave, this threshold, but you can explore more. But the problem is, like, if he couldn't ask for that at any time before, that he had to wait for this box to be a diamond, doesn't that mean it's like his use? And then Riley gets another use. Like, it just doesn't. It's not consistent.
Look, you're not wrong. It's just you're not applying these devil rules to this whole thing, which is like, fuck you.
And then the other thing was like the fact that they could stab one of the Cenobites and destroy it. And the Cenobites were like, God damn it, you found the loophole. That's how you destroy us. Like, that kind of ruins it. It's like, no, that's not. Well, now you have a way to destroy the Cenobites, so they're less scary,
I guess. The Chatterer ends up coming back, it seems like, in that same movie, though.
Does he? I didn't see him.
He? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. In any event, there's sacrifices are made. Riley ends up living, and she chooses nothing. She's like, I don't want your fucking gifts. And they're like, no choice is still a choice. You chose the lament configuration. You get to be sad about having lost all your friends to this horrible event that happened today. And she's like, you mean I don't have to have a fucking box placed inside me to make me feel horrible 24 hours a day and I get to die on time? Great. But Voight gets to basically the power one. He gets made into, it's kind of a reskinning of two. Voight basically gets into a Cenobite.
Yeah.
But one thing, so that's kind of the end of the movie. One thing that has,
well, I love that one of the circles of hell is just, you just get to continue living life normally.
Right. Well, I mean, how could it not be?
We've all been living one of the hellish options afforded to people that solve the box. Just
it's hell because it's not heaven.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. That's one of the things that has occurred to me is in your lifetime and in my lifetime, something has happened, which is the impressive thing to be as a person in the world is was a millionaire. Remember?
Right.
It used to be like Bill Gates had $1 billion and everyone was like, what the fuck?
Right.
Are you fucking serious?
Mm-hmm.
He's a billionaire? And in 30 years or so, now everybody's billionaires. So are we going to now the big thing is billionaire. You got to be a billionaire. Are we going to see trillionaires? Is that going to happen?
I guess I'm unaware. Like, I felt like Jeff Bezos was close.
I think Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos have been battling it out over the past couple of years. Definitely made richer by the pandemic, it seems. But the bigger question,
he amassed. Let's see. I mean, to get to $1 trillion would be insane. Like, as insane as like comparing $1 million
I think
to $1
Musk
billion.
was at. I think Musk was at 500 billion at one point.
Was he?
But the next question is, do you think there will ever be a chameleonaire?
I was asking the hard questions, David.
I know. So final recommendations. Who would like this? If you're a slasher fan, this is a no-brainer. This is easy peasy. If you are a Hellraiser fan, I imagine you will enjoy this or be maybe a little disappointed by the fact that doesn't reach your highest expectations. One of those two, but it's pretty uncomfortable. There are some deglovings. There are some insertions. There are some weird and wacky hijinks that occur in this movie. I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't a more impressive Clive Barker-y sort of thing. But it didn't disappoint too terribly much.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean I think it's like I wouldn't say a half-hearted attempt. It's like a 3/4 hearted attempt at maintaining the tone of the and feel of the original. It's still good. Like I wouldn't steer people away from it, but it doesn't lean hard into the more uncomfortable territory, which would have been interesting to like play a little more with that. And I think like some of it's like you look at the original and it's so taboo. Like it handles the taboo so extremely. When you're thinking of like the 80s, like even just showing some of this stuff is like woof. And you know, like using elements of fetish and like I mean even sexual assault and you know, just a lot of like these predatory um motivations and from the original villains in the original were much more sharp and push the envelope a lot more, and that's why they stood out. And I think like now there's a little bit of it's obvious that there's a hesitancy to go too hard into the paint, where it's like yeah you can't really do sexual assault stuff or like touch on these evil acts because then you gotta give a trigger warning or people are gonna
Answer
like
to the crowd.
Say that that's exploitative and there's something wrong with that.
Doesn't that make it better to put in a horror movie?
Yeah, like, so I mean that stuff where it's like you could really
what's happening?
You could really
who are these people who don't want to be offended by fucking horror?
Yeah.
Isn't that the point?
You could really like tap into a lot of that stuff and they just kind of skim over it, So it's good, not great. Yeah.
Can you imagine being a person who goes into a Hellraiser movie like being like expecting not to be offended? Who
I don't know.
Who are you? Why are you? Go away. Yeah. Anyway, so with that, let's get into...
Are we gonna skim over the fact that the billionaire guy when he's getting transformed into a Cenobite is like totally packing? They do show one big old dong, and
it's not salacious. It's not sexual. It's just like sterile, like surgical dick.
Yeah, but I gotta say it's impressive. It's got an impressive package.
No, yeah, he's a lucky man.
Yeah.
And anybody with him is a lucky man.
So, anyways,
or woman. Let's get into horror movie whores. I would say if you want to do from Monday, our calls from Monday forward, that would be where to start. And if you guys want to give us a call at 682-253-4468, you could get on the show and check out our other episode that we will put out this week on other calls that we just catching up. So here we go.
From Monday. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, it's astonishing. Don't even scroll down.
All right.
We have too many people calling.
Transcript not available.
Greetings. It's Dick Mancrease from Chesapeake, Virginia. Boys, I just wanted to apologize because I left drunk voicemails. I will never do that again. Please don't block me. My apologies. I tend to go hard the night or the couple nights before I have to go out to sea because I work on boats, which was a really fucking dumb choice for a career. Anyways, loving the content as always, and I download all your stuff so that I can take them underway and I can listen to them while I'm out at sea. And I anxiously await being able to pull back in and download you guys for my favorite podcast. Also, earthquakes are not fucking scary. Go outside. You're fine. Unless it's like parting asphalt and stuff and you could fall in. Fall in. Yep, that's right. Sinkholes are way scarier. Spears are fucking rad, but I definitely think I'd rather have a baseball bat. Yeah. You know what? I was kind of blacked out last night. I really don't even know what kind of questions or things that I said. So again, apologies. I hope you vet some of these calls. I don't think I said anything too outlandish. But anyways, let me think real quick. What else? Do you guys like horror movies that are bad? Horror movies that are bad? Because I can think of a couple off the top of my head that are pretty fucking terrible, but I still love them. Event Horizon, you guys picked that one to pieces. I know it's dumb these days, but I still love it. Here's a good one. Well, it's a bad one, but I love it. Nightbreed by Clive Barker. That's a fucking good one. What's another one that is really fucking bad, but for some reason I like it? Let me think. Lords of Salem by Rob Zombie. That's a fucking shitter. But I enjoy it for some reason. I don't know. A lot of weird imagery in there. It's like a acid trip horror movie. Don't have too much else to say. Oh, real quick. It's October, which is fucking rad, but also it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that has affected someone really close to me in the past couple of years. So, and she's doing great now. She's got a pair that's built for speed now, not for comfort, but hey, they're new. And I just want to say to all the lady listeners out there and all the fellas too, make sure to tell the old.
Yeah, what he's going to go ahead and say there is get yourself checked out for breast cancer. Get your mammograms, get those titties squoze up. He's saying his old lady or one of his old ladies, his girlfriend, just recently was affected by breast cancer and is now built for speed instead of comfort. which hey, I'll take all comers. I just appreciate a titty. So yeah, for sure. Get checked out. Cancer is no fucking joke. So be aware of breast cancer. Next caller.
Fellas, been a while. This is CJ, aka the Beast from the Northeast. All right, I got another one for you. This is a would you rather. Would you rather be forced to suckle from that cave woman, inbred, troll-dwelling, Barbara Lane freak of a woman's titties, or forcibly get motorboated or be forced to motorboat Henrietta's nasty-ass pus-filled bosom from Evil Dead 2? And no, death is not an option. You gotta choose one. Peace.
Go ahead.
But I'm confused at what the two options are. So breastfeed from the cave woman. Is he talking about the woman from Barbarian?
Yeah. I think he's talking
Barbara
about the gal
Lane.
from
Okay,
Barbarian.
yeah. And then the other one is Henrietta from Evil Dead 2.
Been a while since CJ Beast from the Northeast called in. I love these questions he poses. So which is it? Breastfeed from nasty titties or motorboat nasty titties?
I mean, the motorboat seems like the easier option overall. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to
this is poorly
ingest anything. You
constructed.
just get shoved against some like dead flesh for a little while. Like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
that's like that's just a
Uh,
prank among friends, really.
A prank among friends. You're gonna have to do a little better, CJ. I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah,
in the Northeast
we're
right
not
now.
angry. We're just disappointed.
Right. Yeah. Next call.
These 3-minute calls, man. I think we say on the voicemail, I try to leave it around a minute. Just say,
get brief
just saying.
with it.
Hey guys, it's Ruby. So I was watching the new movie and we're talking, you know how you guys were talking about like shady places and Airbnbs and stuff. So I have a story for you. So I have a boyfriend long distance and he came over to visit. And, you know, we were trying to save money because we had like a massive road trips, you know, and, you know, so I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just do like cheaper. So that was the first mistake. We got a Motel 6. Which, mind you, I'd stayed in some before. Like, you know, you look at the areas, like, you're just not stupid, right? In my background, I know, like, what to look for, how to be safe, etc. So anyway, so we go to sleep, right? Or before we go to sleep, we're we come back from dinner, we're watching a movie, and then when we get to the hotel, we're on the second floor on the corner of the building. And there's this one, like, teenager, like, all hooded up and just, like, waiting for someone, super sketch, right? And I take note of that. I'm a paranoid person. I'm exactly like David. I'm like, I'm always thinking worst case scenario and what I'm going to do, how I'm going to be prepared. And my boyfriend didn't even fucking realize it. He's like, oh, I didn't even see that guy. Idiot. Anyways, mind you, my boyfriend's white and I'm Mexican, so that should definitely tell you who can die and who won't die in horror movies. Yeah. Anyways, so we're going to bed, and we hear, like, two men conversing in the room next to us, and they're kind of being loud. So I'm just like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with them? Like, just shut the fuck up. It's like 12:30. And so then we fall asleep. And then an hour later, all I hear is, bah, 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 and I'm like, fuck. So I grab my boyfriend, I, like, grab him from the underwear, and I drag his ass to the floor with me. And he's like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, I swear to God to you, I'm like 99% sure that those were gunshots. And he's like, no, what are you talking about? Like, that's so silly. There's nothing there. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, stay on the ground, and don't talk so loud. And he's like, okay. So we're just waiting, and all of a sudden we see somebody run across the window. And I'm like, I swear to you, those were gunshots. And they were right next to us. Like, I know those were gunshots. And then 10 minutes later, the cops pull up. And, you know, I open the door, and I'm like, hey, like, can we talk to you guys? And they're like, sure. I'm like, hey, so, like, this is what I saw beforehand. Was there gunshots? And they're like, yeah, come look outside. And so we walk outside with the cops. And the wall next to us, the door, had 3 gunshots to their door, the room right next to us. And luckily, no one died, but I guess it was like a bad drug deal or some sort. And the cops were like, I recommend you guys don't stay here because we are called to this hotel almost every other day. And so I fucking told my brother, I'm like, did you see? I fucking told you those were gunshots.
Okay, part 2 is here.
Okay, part 2. Anyway, so I'm like, the cop's telling us, like, I recommend you guys don't fucking stay here at all. And so we were going to stay there for 2 nights, and we got reimbursed, and we went somewhere else. But what's crazy is that my car was parked right in front of the door, and nothing happened to my vehicle. But the vehicle next to my car had a windshield that got cracked, I guess, from, like, residue or something. I'm not sure what happened to it, but it got, like, vandalized as well. So, yeah, it was a fun story. I should have stayed in a fucking Airbnb, but, you know, lesson learned. Anyways, love you. Bye.
Yeah. I can't hear you at all, David.
Sorry, I won't mess with weird places. I don't like them.
Yeah.
But I do like that she immediately understands. Obviously, she understands because she's lived through multiple boyfriend killings that she's Mexican, therefore she gets to live.
I think she was saying the opposite. That in horror movies, the white guys survive and the Mexican girls die.
Really?
Yeah. I think you missed.
Well, that's a fucking crime against humanity.
I think that's the point. All right, next caller.
Who wouldn't want a Latin girl to live over a white guy?
Oh, I think this is actually continuation from Ruby.
Oh, I forgot to say. So my boyfriend's European, right? This was his first time in the U.S., so he got the legitimate American experience by almost getting shot at. I thought it was really funny. Okay, I'm done. Bye.
Is she done though? No, I'll never fault Ruby. She's a sweetheart, and I love her, and I like her voice.
All right, next caller.
Hi, this is Sam from Indianapolis. I just started your Barbarian review, and I haven't gotten into the spoilers yet, so I don't know if you talk about any of this stuff. But I just had a few things I wanted to point out. I fucking love this movie. It's right up there with Hatching for my favorite movies of the year, much like David Day there. I do want to say I really like the way you guys not only know but appreciate Trevor Moore's comedic genius. He's a huge influence on my life personally. But Zach killed it with this movie. And I watched a lot of interviews with him since it came out. And it's interesting to know that he had a guy financing it. And right on the day they were going to Bulgaria to shoot it, the guy died. And so when New Regency picked it up, since it was already kind of in the cards, they just let him do exactly what his original script was. So it's kind of rare for a theatrical release movie to be exactly what the first draft is of the script. They changed absolutely nothing on it. There was a scene that was cut where the mother picks up a rat, bites his head off, and then baby birds it into Justin Long's mouth. And they said they only cut it because they didn't want to show the shark too soon. So I think there was something else I had. Maybe had to do with Robert the Farter's Fart Box. I don't remember. I'll call you guys later. Bye-bye.
I think he remembers.
Yeah, he remembers it next. Should we just play that one before we answer or talk about? Yeah, let's just.
Yeah.
I remember what else I wanted to say about Barbarian. Ba-ba. I love that.
Ba 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 ba.
Yeah. So,
what was this question?
Oh, he's just talking about Zach just have the director having the opportunity to really execute his vision of the movie without studio interference, which is it's pretty rare, and you see what can happen if you let someone with a unique vision actually execute it. I wonder how much that is. Like, if there was just a year where execs had zero say in what happens in movies, and it was literally just the writer-directors that just had final say on what went in and out of the movie. I wonder how that would track in terms of like success for movies.
I wonder if the 80s isn't kind of that. A lot of the 80s, or what has come through as being popular from the 80s, feels like kind of that.
Yeah,
a little bit. I don't know. It's a thought. Yeah, that was a great movie. Baba.
All right, last call.
Hey, boys, you handsome devils. Stick Man Crease here. I was listening to your Firestarter review recently, and I was talking about, or I was calling to tell you guys about the part where Dave is very secure with the smallest part of him that is homosexual, and so am I, working on boats with a whole bunch of dudes and whatnot. It's not gay if you're underway, that kind of stuff. The part where you said there's like a preacher who's saying like all gays go to hell, but then he's also like, parking the beef bus in Turd Town on some other dude or whatever. It just immediately made me think of the part of Training Day. Come on, man. Take a hit. Suck that glass dick. All good narcotics cops got narcotics in their blood. They got to have it. Just made me think of Denzel's part. That was a fucking awful impression. Anyway, love you, boys. Take care. You'll probably hear from me in like a month or whatever because I got to go out and do some stuff. But I'll be back, and I will miss you guys. You guys fucking rock. And if you don't like horror movie talk, then fuck you.
He speaks for us. Yeah, Dick Mancrease, as always, thank you for your insight. I will say Training Day. How does that movie strike you now, today?
I don't know. It's been forever since I watched it. It's
How
a
did
great
it
movie.
strike
It's one
you
of Denzel's best performances, I think.
It's just so good. It's good because it feels like it shouldn't have happened, kind of. You know, it's like, whoa, like it insinuates so many weird things.
Yeah, seeing Denzel as a bad guy is really fun. Same thing with Tom Cruise. Seeing Tom Cruise in Collateral as a bad guy is a lot of fun too.
I've never seen Collateral.
Oh, it's great.
Oh. I still kind of want to watch that Sylvester Stallone movie that you talked about, Copland.
Oh yeah, Copland's great.
I want to see that. It's been bonking around in my head since you explained the premise of that. Sounded pretty solid. Well, that's our show. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that my my feed dropping didn't mean we lost all that shit.
I don't think so. I think there might be a little more work in editing if I remember what happened last time that happened. But
in any event, we love you. And stay classy, and check out Hellraiser on Hulu. It's presented by Hulu on Huluween's Hulu.
It's a Hulu original
station.
Presented by Huluween on Hulu. It's Hulu original presented by Hulu for Huluween on Hulu.
And if you want to support our show, you can go ahead and share it with a friend. Give us a nice rating on Apple podcasts or Spotify, and you can support us monetarily. This is a free show that we do out of the kindness of our hearts, hoping to pull at your heartstrings enough to get $5 a month out of you. So consider that, because we could really use the help in order to, help the show. Special thanks to everybody listening. We love you. If you want to get a hold of us, call us at 682-253-4468. Peace out. We love you. Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
Took a stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face!
Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.